Hello, welcome back. Today I'm bringing you a bit of an unknown, like not unknown, but just lesser known director. I think anyway. Um, Mainly because I really like a couple of films by him, and I think he's a solid director. He's delivered quite a few uh, movies that I've enjoyed. He only has 7 in his catalog, so this will be a top 7. And his name is Scott Derrickson, and he started. I won't get into that. I was gonna say when he came out and everything, but then that would reveal my movie titles coming up, so I'll avoid that. Um, he's done a few in the last say 15 years that I've enjoyed quite a bit, and it's hard. I'm doing big name directors, but it's really hard to find some that are got like 10 or less, above 5 but below 10, that I can do in between, knocking off some of the big name guys that have 30, 40, 50, 100 movies in their catalogs. But I am working on those. So in the meantime, I will give you some smaller directors that I think are worth checking out. And honestly, my lowest movie here is a 2, and my highest is a 5. So I'll get right into it. First up at this is Scott Derrickson, just so you know. First up at number 7 here. He has 7, right? Yeah, 7. At number 7, I have The Day the Earth Stood Still. This is from 2008, and it's got a pretty stacked cast. Jennifer Connelly, Keanu Reeves, Jaden Smith, John Cleese, John Hamm, Kathy Bates. It's got a pretty stacked cast. It's only a 2 from me. This edition, this Blu-ray, also comes with the original from 1951, The Day the Earth Stood Still, which I actually think is like a much better movie. I like the original better than this. Not much better, but a little bit. And I just turned this one off. I watched it yesterday, and it was a first time watch. And it starts out really good. Like, I'm really intrigued at the beginning. Halfway through the movie, once I learn the point, the plot, I'm out. Like, it lost me halfway through. And I'm into end of the world apocalypse movies. I like them. But this one, it's I don't want to spoil the storyline in case you haven't seen it, because like, I do think all of these deserve to be checked out and ranked yourself if you like doing what I do, because it's fun. I love watching things and ranking them for some reason. Just like OCD, but it's fun. And it needs to be checked out because some people might love it. It has a environmental messaging behind it. I'll say that much. So if you're into like political messages being rammed down your throat, then you might like this. Some people love that, obviously. Some of the biggest movies that make the most money are just political message movies rammed down your throat. So I'm not a fan of it. I would rather them keep their opinions to themselves, so it kind of annoys me, the storyline. The visuals are okay. There's nothing spectacular. The acting it's what you would get in an end of the world movie. They're all kind of cheesy and silly, to be honest. But yeah, in 7th place, this is his worst movie. It's a 2 out of 5 for me. The Day the Earth Stood Still. Awesome edition, though, because you get that original, too. Which is a must-see from the 50s. At number 6, this is a 4-pack, but I'm only talking about Hellraiser Inferno up here. I was going to cover them, but screw it. This is a 4-pack of Hellraiser movies from Miramax and Lionsgate. This is Inferno. This one's directed by Scott Derrickson. This would be his first movie. This came out in 2000. This was 2008. I'm gonna be honest here. This wasn't bad. I gave this a 2.5 out of 5, which isn't bad for Hellraiser 5. Like, this is the 5th in the series. And I honestly, there's not a lot of Hellraiser in this. Like, its storyline is kind of separated. It really feels like the script was made for something else. And I have heard that a lot of the Hellraiser sequels, their scripts were written to be other movies, and then they just threw Pinhead in it for 5 minutes and called it a Hellraiser movie. This is that. But the storyline's actually pretty good. It's just about a detective that's trying to solve a series of murders, and it just leaves you wondering what's going on most of the movie. And he's looking for someone called the Engineer, who, like, I can't reveal that. Like, it's so hard, eh? It's hard to spoil. I hate spoiling, because if I tell you the whole thing, then there's no point in you watching it, really. But I honestly think that this 4-pack is definitely worth a purchase, first off. You're getting 4 sequels, and I actually think Hellworld's pretty decent, too. And Bloodline I have on 4K in my Hellraiser collection, but from Arrow, that's a nice collection. But Inferno, like, what's his name? Craig Sheffer. He's the lead. This has James Remar. That's about it for familiar faces. But it just has some twists and turns. It's like a detective murder story. Just think of 2.5 out of 5-star detective trying to solve crimes story. And some people might go higher than that, to be honest, because there was some things that, like, sucked me in, but then I know it's a Hellraiser movie. I think that's the problem. It's hard to explain, like, because you know this is a Hellraiser movie and where it's probably gonna go in the end. The whole, like, I wonder what's going on aspect is kind of thrown out the window. So that part bugged me. But a 2.5 out of 5 at number 6, Hellraiser Inferno. At number 5, I have Deliver Us from Evil. This is from, like, 2014. Yeah, 2014. Deliver Us from Evil. This stars Eric Bana, Edgar Ramirez, who does an excellent job in this, Olivia Munn, who's, like, she hasn't been in a whole lot, but she used to be on, like, E3 as a host. Sean Harris, Joel McHale. This one I bumped up to a 3, pushing towards a 3.5. I actually thought there was a lot to really like about this. I'm not a huge fan of the payoff, like where they go in the final act, but I do like all the, like, Boston accents and the Boston areas that they go to while they're searching out. How can I say it without spoiling it? Like, at the beginning, it opens up with a bunch of soldiers going into a place, and they're American soldiers, and it just cuts to them being like, what the heck is that? What's that? And then the camera's going all crazy, and shooting and guns going off, and then it cuts. And it cuts to this cop story where Eric Bana's a detective, and he starts trying to solve these disturbing occurrences in his local precinct area, his district. And Edgar Ramirez comes in as a priest who has a shady past. Won't get into any of the spoiler stuff. And basically these soldiers are all turning up dead or being arrested for committing horrific crimes. and he's trying to piece what they like. He doesn't even know that they're connected at first, and it's another detective movie, kind of like Inferno, just upgraded with a bigger budget, and they go somewhere supernatural. I'll leave it at that. Don't want to spoil too much. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's got some really, well, it says right on it, suspenseful and intense moments. It's inspired by actual accounts from a New York police department sergeant. I thought they were Boston accents. Apparently they're New York accents. Okay. Could have sworn they were Boston. But yeah. Jerry Bruckheimer production, eh? Okay, he's the producer. Scott Derrickson's the director. But yeah, check that one out. At number 5. At number 4. This might shock some people. This was more highly praised than I thought. This is another 3.5 for me. This is Doctor Strange from the MCU. Yeah, big jump there. Yes. An end of the world movie. You got a couple detective horror movies, and now you got Doctor Strange. Sounds like my disc is loose. Yes, it is. Yeah, Doctor Strange. Do I need to go into deep? Everyone that loves superhero movies, this was obviously him getting a good paycheck. So I can understand why he'd be like, yeah, I'll take that deal. He probably got paid big bucks. And Doctor Strange is pretty solid. It's a middle of the pack MCU movie for me. It's like a 3.5. Probably 3.5, I would say, not 3. And great performance from Benedict. And I also like the other guy too. What's his name? Benedict Wong. So both Benedicts give a good performance. Tilda Swinton's awesome in this. If you haven't seen it, obviously check out Doctor Strange. At this point, I probably don't need to go deep on what was this, 2016? Oh, I forgot Disney movies never put the years on the back of their cases for some reason. Oh wow, this Blu-ray has 7.1 DTS audio. Dolby Atmos. Jeez, okay. Pretty solid packed Blu-ray on the specs there. But, sorry. Yeah, it's Doctor Strange. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's pretty solid. I love the ending of Doctor Strange. That's one thing that I really enjoy. Just the colors that are going on, and what's his name, Dormammu, or is it Dormammu, or fuck, I can't remember his name. Jeez, that's gonna bug me for a bit. Of course, there's nothing on the back to help me there, so I will have to look that up when I get off of here. I'm pretty sure it's like Dormammu. But yeah, correct me. But that's my number 4, Doctor Strange. And then at number 3, we have The Exorcism of Emily Rose. This one bumps up to a 4 for me. This is less, like, this is a really cool, unique take on an exorcism movie. No digitals there. Really unique take. It plays more like a courtroom drama. And it's like it has an excellent performance from what's her name here? Oh man, always forget her name. Jennifer Carpenter as Emily Rose. And it just does a good job at like making you wonder whether or not exorcisms should be legal, basically. It's done in a courtroom. Like, is this based on a true story? Oh, it is based on a true story. Oh yeah, I knew that actually, because there's a giant memorial in the world where you can go visit Emily Rose's memorial like grave, and it's like she's hailed as like a saint basically. But there's some really creepy imagery in here, and you just feel for her when it cuts to her scenes and you're seeing her life. You feel for her, and it makes you wonder whether it's only religion is the only reason why she's believing these things, or is there actually demonic forces possessing her. And by the time, like in the first half, I'm really convinced that this priest that performed the exorcism, played by Tom Wilkinson, should probably go to prison, because it feels like he's guilty. And in the second half, when they start showing you some of what was happening, it just makes you walk that line of like whether or not exorcism should be legal. It's a decent courtroom drama. Like most of the movie takes place in a courtroom drama, and Laura Linney is defending Tom Wilkinson because he's being charged with like first degree murder basically, or not first degrees, third degree manslaughter or something like that. So you get like a 10-year sentence. I won't spoil how it ends because the ending's actually really good. It's it has moments of tear jerking. It has terrifying scenes. I remember seeing this in the theater when it first came out. This was what year was this one actually? 2005. So me and my wife went to see this because this was around the time we were seeing everything. Absolutely everything in the theater. But yeah, excellent movie. Check it out. Decent Blu-ray too. I just picked this up. I ordered it for this episode because I didn't have it. And then at number 2, this one's from 2022, I believe. Yeah, 2022. This is The Black Phone. So this is like his newest movie. And here's the thing with this one. The first time I watched it, when it first came out, it was overhyped for me. This is another 4 for me. It was overhyped. And when I watched it, it was not, I just didn't take from it what I heard going in. Everybody I knew was telling me just how scary it was and how it's just like the horror movie of the year, basically. And I'm like, okay, so I'm pumped. And then me and my whole family sit down and watch it. And the first time I watched it, I gave it like a 3. I was just like, yeah, that was okay. Upon the second watch, it jumped up to a 4 for me and into second place for him as a director. And it's mainly just how much I must have missed the first time, because there's so much more here than what I thought. Like the first time I watched it, it was just like, this is just a run-of-the-mill like serial killer kidnapping movie. There's nothing special happening here whatsoever. And then on the second watch, I was just noticing things and felt it more. Like it's really, like I think I had tears rolling down my face at one point, at a couple points actually. And it's just a really emotional movie. If you don't know the storyline, Ethan Hawke plays the grabber, and he's been killing kids in the 70s. This is the 70s, right? Or is it the 60s? I should know this. I literally just watched the movie like 3 days ago. I think it's the 70s. And he's just kidnapping kids in the neighborhood, and they keep going missing. And then our lead actor here, who gives an excellent performance, along with his sister, who also gives an excellent performance. What was her name, the sister? Because she was really good. No, this back is one of those backs that like give you nothing. But sometimes I like. So yeah, there's nothing on the back here that even tells you the cast or anything. But all excellent performances. Ethan Hawke is creepy as fuck. And basically he locks this kid in the basement of his house, and it's soundproof, and there's this black phone on the wall, and all of a sudden it starts ringing and it doesn't work. It's not supposed to work. And the kid picks it up, and it's calls from all the kids that this guy has killed, and they're trying to help him get through it and figure out a way to escape, basically. And it ends up leading to where I always predicted. Early in the movie, one of his friends says something to him, and I assumed, oh, okay, so he's going to do that, this or that. I'm not going to spoil in case you haven't seen it yet, but I knew it's predictable. I guessed it at least. But that doesn't matter. Just the tone, the atmosphere, it keeps you invested, keeps you sucked in. I enjoyed it a lot. 4 out of 5. I'm pretty sure Black Phone 2 possibly comes out later this year, like at the end of the year, if not beginning of next year. And I'm kind of excited to see where they go with that. Because if you've seen this, you know where this movie goes and how it ends and everything. So it's exciting to see where they would go next. It's odd. And then, my opinion, his best movie, this is a 5 from me. This is Sinister. From 2012, I believe. Yeah, 2012. Yep, 2012. Ethan Hawke again here, giving an excellent performance, I think. Another just standout. I've heard a lot of people say that they just hate this movie. And then I've heard a lot of people say that they love this movie and it's freaking one of their favorites. This is possibly like my number 1 horror movie of the 2010s. Possibly. It's just so... It's creepy. Bleak. Anyone that's seen it, it's just got some imagery that stays with you. Like, honestly, I've seen this movie probably 6 or 7 times now, and I just can't get the imagery out of my head. It's so creepy, especially the lawnmower scene, obviously. That scene, I know it's coming, and it's still, like, gives me a jolt. Like, I can feel my heart skip a beat, basically. It's just brutal at that scene. Like, sick to your stomach in some moments. And then it's not pleasant. Like, there isn't one pleasant moment in this movie. There is one sequence I wish they never did in the movie. And it's where Ethan Hawke is walking through his house and the ghost kids are running around it. And then all of a sudden they try to hit you with a cheesy jump scare where the kids face it. I don't like that scene at all. It feels way too amateur for a movie that the rest of it is culty feeling. Like, it just feels like a cult classic that you're watching something you shouldn't be watching kind of thing. But that one scene feels like it's a studio film. So I wish they took that out and just added some dialogue or something in its place. But other than that, this is the perfect horror movie. It's one of the scariest movies of all time, in my opinion. This one's one that truly still gets me. Multiple watches in. The first time I watched, I wish I could go back in time. I always see that question, like movies that you wish you could go back in time and watch for the first time again. This is one of them. Especially with the way I look at movies nowadays compared to back in 13 years ago when I watched this. I'm just not the same person anymore. I think I would have appreciated this more now than I did back then. But, yeah, I can give a quick little synopsis on it, but I'm pretty sure everyone's probably seen Sinister. Ethan Hawke's character moves his family into a haunted home that a bunch of, like, a kid murdered his whole family, or they don't really know what the story is. All they know is that people were murdered in this house, and his family doesn't know that it's a murder house. He's lied to them. And it's because he's a horror writer, and he wants to use this story to get himself famous again, basically. And as he do I spoil much? He finds a box of old film tapes, and each of them have labels on them, and each one of them is like a video of a nice family, and they're all happy, and then it cuts to them all being brutally murdered in different ways, and the imagery you're seeing there is almost like, it just feels way too real. It feels like you're watching like a snuff film or something, like just really uncomfortable. And it just keeps building and adding to the storyline. And the freaking, to me, like, I can't even explain the feelings that this movie gives me. It's just creepy as shit. Creepy as shit. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to spoil too much of the storyline. If you haven't seen Sinister, it's one of my favorites of the 2010s. I think it's one of the scariest movies ever made. It's why I even did Scott Derrickson as a director, just because I loved Sinister so much, and I thought, oh, he has a few others that I really like too. So, and I have them all. I only had to buy one movie for this video. It was Exorcism of Emily Rose. So, that's my Derrickson. I'll leave it at that. We got a 2. Day the Earth Stood Still at 7. Hellraiser Inferno at 6. Deliver Us from Evil at 5. Doctor Strange at 4. Exorcism of Emily Rose at 3. Black Phone at 2. Sinister at number 1. Ta-da! Another director down. Who am I doing next? I have my first 10 directors mapped out. That's 3 down. And I own everything by these 10 already. That's why they're my first 10. And I'm basically just jumping all over all their catalogs and doing one movie by him, one movie by him. I'm just jumping back and forth and trying to work on a bunch of them at the same time. So I don't know who I'm going to finish first. So I don't really know who I'm doing next. But a few in these top 10 coming up within the next few episodes will be Steven Spielberg. It will be Christopher Nolan. I have Eli Roth. I'm doing Sam Raimi, just to name a few. Those are a few of my upcoming ones. And then after I get through 10, I'll pull out 10 more and see if I own everything by them. If not, I'll buy up a few that I need to complete some more, and I'll do another 10. But I'm going to stick to these 10 for now because I'm actually really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun polishing off. Like, I did all 7 of these in like 2.5 days. And it would have been even less if I didn't have other things to watch in between. I'm a huge hockey fan, so I'm watching hockey. Huge wrestling fan, so I'm watching wrestling. We're coming up on the Royal Rumble. One of the best, like, most fun wrestling events every year. Once a year. So I'm preoccupied. I got some video games on the go. Doing all kinds of shit. But I did all these in 2.5 days, so I'm going to get back to watching my next one right now. It is... What am I going to watch next? Probably Army of Darkness by Sam Raimi on 4K. That one needs another watch. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I will talk to you on my next one.